My daughter stabbed herself 20 times. Is that even possible? That cold evening of January 26, 2011, ended on the blood-soaked kitchen floor of a modern Philadelphia apartment. Ellen Greenberg, a 27-year-old vibrant, hard-working and loving young teacher, lay on her kitchen floor. Her body bore over 20 stab wounds to her chest, back, neck, and head. A knife was in her hand. The police declared it a suicide. Think for a moment. Could any person, no matter how distressed, stab themselves so many times, at such varied angles, and with such force? Could someone stab themselves in the back of their own neck and head? This is the question that forced Sandy and Josh Greenberg to pursue the truth about their daughter's death, a journey that has now lasted over a decade. This is not just a story of a death. It is a story of questions raised against a system, a family's relentless struggle, and a truth that remains buried under glass to this day. The murder of Ellen Greenberg. Ellen Greenberg was born on April 9, 1983. She was the only child of Sandy and Josh Greenberg. Growing up in the Philadelphia suburb of Harrisburg, Ellen was a bright, ambitious, and kind young woman. Friends called her a powerhouse of positive energy. She graduated from Drexel University and became a first-grade teacher at an elementary school. A lover of children, Ellen held extra classes for her students, remembered their birthdays, and took a deep interest in every child's success. Her personal life seemed stable and happy. She had been living with her boyfriend, Sam Goldberg, a lawyer, for nearly 4 years. They had recently moved into an apartment together in the Manayunk neighborhood of Philadelphia. Socially active, Ellen loved to travel, spend time with friends and family, and explore new places. Her social media profiles were filled with smiling pictures, vacation photos, and loving moments with her students. Did she have any enemies? There was no clear indication. According to her parents and friends, she wasn't in any fights or disputes. However, a few weeks prior, Ellen had told her parents that she and Sam were having a small argument about door locks. She told her parents she felt strange and that she thought Sam was gaslighting her, manipulating her into questioning her own feelings and experiences. It was a small crack that no one paid much attention to at the time, but it later turned into a major question. Ellen wasn't just a case. She was a daughter who spoke to her mother daily, a teacher whose students waited for her, a friend whose laughter could light up a room. This was the Ellen found dead in her own kitchen on the evening of January 26th, the mysterious hours of the last day. The events of Ellen Greenberg's last day are like a puzzle with missing pieces. Morning, January 26th. Ellen starts a normal day. She goes to school where she teaches all day. Colleagues later stated she appeared happy and normal. As usual, she graded her students' work and made plans for the coming week. Afternoon. After school ends, Ellen returns to her apartment. She watches TV with her boyfriend Sam and makes plans for dinner. Evening, 6:30 p.m. Sam states he left the apartment to go to the gym. He says Ellen was standing in the kitchen and seemed completely fine when he left. Evening, 6:30 p.m. to 8:40 p.m., the lost time. This is the critical gap that makes the entire case so mysterious. What happened in those 2.5 hours between Sam leaving for the gym and the police arriving? There is no CCTV footage, no neighbor heard anything, no phone call or message record to fill this void. Evening, 8:40 p.m. Sam Goldberg returns from the gym. He states the apartment door was chained from the inside. He knocked, called out for Ellen, but got no answer. Worried, he called the building superintendent, who broke the door open. Evening, 8:44 p.m. Sam calls 911, shouting that his girlfriend has stabbed herself. He tells the operator, "She's dead. She stabbed herself." Evening, approximately 8:50 p.m. Police and paramedics arrive on the scene. Ellen is found dead on the kitchen floor. This timeline raises two huge questions. 1. If Ellen died by suicide, did she lie on the floor alone in pain, with her wounds for that long, over 2 hours? 2. What was truly happening in that apartment from the time Sam left for the gym until he returned? The suspect, the only other person, present. In this case, the suspect list is very short but very complex. The initial focus of the investigation was on one name, Sam Goldberg, Ellen's boyfriend and the only other person known to be in the apartment. Motive. No immediate clear motive was apparent, like financial gain or a new relationship. However, Ellen's parents reported tension in their relationship in recent weeks. Ellen felt Sam was minimizing her feelings. Could this tension have escalated into a violent fight? Was there a hidden motive that didn't surface in the police investigation? Opportunity. Sam himself stated he was alone in the apartment at the time of the incident. His departure and return, and the empty time in between, theoretically made him the only person with the opportunity to kill Ellen. Red flags and contradictions. The door chain. Sam claimed the door was chained from the inside, creating a locked room mystery. However, a later independent investigation found that even if the door was closed but not chained, it could be difficult to open from the outside. Was the chain really latched, or was it a way to stage the scene? The 911 call. Experts who analyze Sam's 911 call have questioned inconsistencies. He stated over the phone, "She's dead." But how did he know without getting close to the body? Did that knowledge come from another source? Changing statements. According to some reports, Sam altered minor details when telling police about Ellen's final day. These small changes eroded trust. Other suspects? Police initially did not seriously consider any other suspect. There were no signs of forced entry, nothing was stolen, and no one in Ellen's circle posed an obvious threat. This left only two possibilities: suicide or the person she lived with. The crime scene, the kitchen where everything stopped. Ellen Greenberg's body was found on the kitchen floor of her apartment. The scene raised questions from the first glance. Physical state. Ellen's body was lying on its back on the kitchen floor. She was wearing a light pink t-shirt and underwear. Her body bore a horrific number of knife wounds. The weapon. A knife shindish was found clutched in her right hand. It was an ordinary kitchen knife from a block in the apartment. Signs of tampering. There were no signs of forced entry until on the apartment door. The superintendent broke it down, but it was locked beforehand. There were also no signs of a struggle inside. Furniture was in place, no glasses were broken, nothing was out of order. It looked like a staged scene. Too calm and tidy. Blood evidence. Bloodstain pattern analysis presented another puzzle. While a significant amount of blood had pooled from Ellen's body, there was less spatter on her clothes or nearby walls than experts would expect from so many violent wounds. This scene tells two opposite stories. The suicide story. A knife in hand, no external attacker, door locked from inside. The homicide story. The number and location of wounds seem implausible. The scene is too clean, and there was no suicide note. Evidence and clues. This is where the case becomes most tangled. Every piece of evidence can be viewed from both sides. The autopsy report. This is the most controversial document. Chief Medical Examiner Dr. Sam Gulino ruled the manner of death suicide. However, the report itself contained facts that contradicted this conclusion. Over 20 stab wounds, many in the back of the neck, back of the head, and upper back. Forensic experts state it is physically impossible for a person to self-inflict such deep wounds to their own back and neck. One wound reached the secus spinal column, which could have caused immediate paralysis, making further wounding impossible. Ellen had no defensive wounds on her hands. If she were under attack, she would likely have tried to protect herself with her hands, resulting in cuts. Forensic analysis. Independent forensic experts hired by the Greenberg family found that many wounds were incisive, slashing rather than thrust, stabbing. Some wounds showed tracking, meaning the knife was twisted in different directions within the same wound, an action rare in suicide. Digital evidence. Ellen's computer and phone revealed she had searched online for QT, medicine for panic attacks, and detain gaslighting, just before her death. This shows she was anxious, but is it evidence of suicidal intent? She did not search for suicide methods, nor did she write a note. Conversely, she had made future plans with her parents. Physical evidence. Ellen had a too large bruise on her left leg, indicative of a recent injury. There was no explanation for how it got there. The investigation angle. A suicide bias? The Philadelphia Police Department's investigation, many believe, began with a bias. Initial mistakes. First responders, seeing the scene, immediately assumed a suicide. This perception may have limited the scope of the investigation. The crime scene may not have been fully secured, and early evidence collection may have been rushed. Misplaced focus. Investigators began digging into Ellen's mental health history. They learned a doctor had recently prescribed Ellen medication for anxiety. This strengthened their suicide theory. However, family and friends insisted Ellen was anxious, not depressed, and had no reason to die. Interviewing the suspect. Sam Goldberg was interviewed by police but was never treated seriously as a potential murderer. He had a lawyer present, and the questioning was relatively brief. The family alleges police did not deeply investigate other possibilities. The case unravels. As the case gained media attention and the family spoke out, it became convoluted. The Philadelphia PD stood by its conclusion, while forensic experts hired by the Greenbergs presented solid evidence of homicide. It became a battle of science versus perception. Twists and turns, a family's fight. The biggest turn in the case came from her parents' determination. Sandy and Josh Greenberg decided to actively seek justice rather than grieve passively. Independent investigation. They spent their own money to hire a team of private investigators and forensic experts, including former homicide detectives and forensic pathologists. These experts reviewed police reports, autopsy photos, and evidence, producing a detailed report calling the suicide ruling scientifically impossible. Media and public pressure. The Greenbergs took their story to the media. Headlines like 20 stab wounds and suicide or murder ran nationwide. Public sentiment began to side with Ellen. An online petition gathered thousands of signatures demanding the case be reopened. The legal battle. The family, Chaktu, filed lawsuits. Not only against Sam Goldberg, but also against the Philadelphia police and the chief medical examiner, alleging negligence and evidence tampering. This battle continues in court today. A hidden dynamic? During the investigation, it emerged that Sam Goldberg had a lawyer present immediately after Ellen's death, and began a new relationship shortly after. While not direct evidence of guilt, it raised questions about his character and attachment to Ellen. Who is the killer? An unanswered question. Unfortunately, in the Ellen Greenberg case, there has been no traditional final reveal. There is no packed courtroom where a jury delivers a guilty verdict. No jailhouse confession. The case is unresolved, and that is its most agonizing feature. The official story, police and medical examiner. There is no killer. Ellen Greenberg, in a state of deep mental crisis, stabbed herself 20 times in a suicidal act. It was not planned. It was a tragic act of impulse. The door was chained. There was no external attacker, and the physical evidence, in their interpretation, points to this. The alternative story. Family and independent experts. The killer is the person she lived with. During an argument, Ellen was murdered. The scene was then staged to look like a suicide. The knife placed in her hand, the door chain latched, or claimed to be. The number and nature of the wounds are evidence of homicide, and police bias in the investigation prevented the truth from emerging. The mistake that tells all? If this was a murder, the killer's mistake was likely the excessive number of wounds. A clean 2 to 4 wound suicide scene would have been easier to stage. But over 20 wounds, especially to the back and neck, demonstrate a ferocity that goes beyond simple staging and points to a rage-filled attack. This is the mistake that makes the alternative story compelling. The aftermath. The case of Ellen Greenberg's death remains open today, and its impact is profound and far-reaching. The family's state. Sandy and Josh Greenberg have been fighting for justice for over a decade. Their lives revolve around the case. They attend court proceedings, speak to the media, and run a foundation in Ellen's memory. Their grief is not only for losing a daughter, but also for being denied the truth. The court verdict. No criminal trial has been held. However, civil lawsuits are ongoing. In a significant 2022 ruling, a judge decided in the family's favor, stating they had sufficient evidence to argue Ellen's death was a homicide. This paved the way to formally challenge the official suicide ruling. The court battle continues. Was justice served? Clearly, no guarantees. If it was murder, the killer walks free. If it was suicide, the family never got a true answer as to why their daughter took such a step. In both scenarios, justice is incomplete. Ellen Greenberg's story forces us to ask a fundamental question. When do we accept the information given by authorities, and when do we start asking questions? This case is about potential biases in police investigations, forensic science, and the justice system. It is a beacon of hope for families who fight against the system, and a warning that sometimes a completely different truth may be hidden just beneath the surface. Ellen Greenberg's story is not over. It lives on in court documents, in her parents' hearts, and in the minds of everyone who knows this mystery. Until the truth is fully revealed, this case will remind us that some deaths live on with questions, and some questions are so vital they must be answered. Thanks for watching, guys. If you enjoyed this video, please like and share it. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and press the bell icon so you can be the first to hear about such real-life stories.